episode 131.
This is a great opportunity to segue to our main topic.
Oh, okay.
Unless anyone else has anything to say about Boeing and how unsafe their aircraft is.
No, but have you heard of the teacups in California?
The 7 teacups?
Yeah, 7 teacups.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull that up for you.
Last one's called
They
toilet
They have
bowl.
wormholes in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an
Exactly.
apple.
I thought it was just worms.
No, like an apple.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To another place.
Yeah.
Like
7 of them.
Chronicles of
Okay.
Narnia.
Now
Yeah.
I'm ready, Jake. Now I'm
So
ready.
we have our special guest who's coined his name as Treesus Bartleby. He is a arborist, and our Instagram account follows you, and so I see a lot of the daring work that you do up in the trees.
Nice.
But that's what you do. You cut down trees, and today we were going to talk less about cutting down trees and more about conspiracy theories.
Because
Sounds good.
last time you were here, conspiracy theories naturally came up, and we're like, we got to have you back to just talk about that. And so
this is the follow-up.
our wish is your command or something like that.
60 episodes later,
Yeah.
you're back.
Nice. I'm
You're
back.
You're into conspiracy
To
theories?
follow up that. So what were we talking about again on that last one?
Yeah.
The wormholes,
Where'd we
birth
leave off?
certificates.
No, the last one?
Oh,
Birth
Oh, the
certificates?
last
Oh, yeah.
episode.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I
you're
think
into
we do.
conspiracy theories?
Not really. I'm into
Oh.
history.
Oh, okay.
And like I wouldn't say that I'm like trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that.
It'd be a factualist.
So I
Yeah.
do remember one of the things that came up
Oh.
that we didn't dive deep into.
What?
So you were.
Well, wait. Because
I'm
I
gonna
was
wait.
just gonna say.
I think I'm just gonna wait.
Because I was gonna throw it
Jeff,
out
you should
there.
wait.
I was gonna throw out there before we delve into conspiracy theories
Uh-huh.
that if you think you've even like dabbed in a conspiracy theory, you haven't,
Yeah.
because Jake's father-in-law is the king
Oh yeah.
Of conspiracy theories?
like things you would never imagine, just like blow your mind.
Nice.
Yeah, we had him on
It's
a while back.
it's very entertaining to hear him
Yeah.
and some of the theories that he has.
But
Yeah.
anyway, what interests you about history? That's like,
Well, I mean, I guess the most interesting thing about history is like kind of comparing it to what's happening now,
mhm.
right? I would say like Rome is our best example
Mhm.
of like how to compare the world stage. But what's happening right now is also just like vastly different from anything that's ever happened on this planet. Like with the world trade and how interconnected we all are with the world,
Yeah.
you know. And probably one of the biggest things that I study about right now is the fact that most likely like the whole world is going to experience a really huge population collapse over the next 30 years. I think we're sheltered a little bit from like seeing what's going on here in Utah because Mormons have a lot of kids,
Yeah.
but
Even they, I think, are having a lot.
slowed
Fewer.
way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, slowed way down. So our birth rate is just not really sustainable for our population.
Yeah,
And
and I shouldn't have said they. We.
Yeah. Please don't
'cause-
say they. I
'cause
go
I'm
like he.
Mormon. Don't forget.
Sure.
Don't forget.
I mean,
Yeah. The birth rates are interesting.
Well, and that's also like a really interesting. I mean, and it's happened a lot of times in history where the birth rate has gone down.
Mhm.
But one of the like, you know, have you guys heard of everybody talking about the coming Civil War, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the markers for like a civil war
The people talking about it.
is that the birth rate will be low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Was there a birth rate decline on the last Civil War in America?
I did not
That'd
ever.
be
I
interesting.
don't know. Yeah, but that would be interesting to look at. There's a lot of markers, you know, a lot of things that have happened, you know, when, and it's not necessarily just civil war. It could be like social unrest or,
Right.
you know, whatever. But a lot of things that we're going through right now, like the inflation, things
Mhm.
becoming very expensive, you know, bureaucracy, like everything's hidden behind bureaucracy. So like there's nobody to blame.
Mm.
You know, that's
Yeah.
like that was like a huge thing in the Roman times. Like,
Yeah.
nobody to blame for anything. So like nothing can actually get done. And this goes back to like the Elon Musk efficiency thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's all like,
Well,
So-
I brought this up maybe a few podcasts ago. Like, who do you blame? Like,
Yourself.
if there's any given problem with the government, like whose fault
Yeah,
is
that's-
it? Like for example, they just tried to assassinate Trump, and everyone's like, whose fault is this? No one can figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, he's
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah. Oh, the guy who did it?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I mean,
a lot of people just pick, it's him. It's just him.
but
Yeah.
underneath that, like, okay, it was just him, but like, why did he become enraged like that? Like,
Right.
what is going on that caused him to be like, I got to go shoot at Trump?
Yeah.
It's like, what is he seeing on the internet? Who's pushing that?
I think it was Biden in the CIA.
Do you? Yeah. I mean,
Well, last time I joked about it a little bit, but the more I thought about it, I'm like,
You're like,
that makes the most sense.
this is no joke.
Because there's and the reason why is there's nothing on him. Like what 19-year-old kid? Nobody knows anything about.
It's a super weird thing. Like nobody knows anything about him, and then what does come out about him is like just super weird. Like I don't know if you watch the interviews of the kids who are supposedly his classmates.
Yeah,
they just like look like young little actor kids.
Yeah,
like it
They
straight up.
They just got out of their drama class.
100%, dude. It didn't like. I was like, people don't act like this.
No,
Yeah.
you mean like they are hired actors. They're not actually.
Yeah, they were like,
classmates.
he was a weirdo. He was always wearing his American flag
he was
shirt.
bullied a lot.
Yeah, he was bullied a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you raise the
it's just
cue
like-
card a little?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
bullied and
Yeah, straight up.
liked knives.
Well,
yeah, and it's true. Like
Collected rocks.
if you think about like being in high school, even if he was a kid that was bullied, do you think someone would get like someone? Can you imagine anyone we went to school with, like doing an interview, like, oh yeah, he was bullied a lot, like, or would they be like, he was kind of quiet? It's really, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, they would
Yeah.
be saying he was. They wouldn't even be bringing up that he was bullied.
Yeah.
they would be
That's
like,
true.
Because that would be
Why?
like embarrassing or whatever
to them too.
Right.
Like, well, why didn't you do anything about it?
Exactly.
Mhm.
You know, like because our society hates bullying.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. It's like it's
Well-
weird. There's so many weird things surrounding.
I mean, the
That whole
biggest
thing.
thing that I would say is my biggest conspiracy theory right now is just that the left is fucking bananas insane.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the shit that they're pushing for, like diversity and like all these things that to even us would seem good are like not really good, like diversity is cool, but like when you get an area that's too diverse, like cohesion can't happen. It's like oil and water. And so like progress can't be made. Progress starts stopping. And like,
Well, I think one of the big things that happens too is like you change the meaning of things. You change the meaning of. So, for example, acceptance and inclusion, like these
Sure.
kind of target words.
yeah,
If you really look at the actions of it, it has nothing to do with acceptance of inclusion. It has a acceptance and inclusion of a very minority amount of people
yeah,
into the larger amount of people, but in fact segregating the majority of the people that are involved. It's like I don't know what percentage or of people in the country are like transgender and gay and all that LGBTQ, right? But it's a definite minority
Mhm.
for sure. So inclusion includes that. But then if you're white, you're racist. Like where's
well,
the
and that's
like if you have a differing opinion, somehow that can't be included.
that's like a I guess quote unquote cult mentality,
Yeah.
where you will go and start changing word meanings
Mm-hmm.
to like fit within the vernacular of your club.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every religion really does it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but like that's just textbook communism.
Yeah.
I like that you said
like
it
that.
hinders progress because it 100% does when you like, we're talking about the Secret Service with the whole Trump assassination attempt thing. The director of the Secret Service was calling her a DEI hire.
Mm-hmm.
DEI meaning diversity, equity,
Yeah,
and inclusion.
yeah.
It's the term that the left is just pummeling left and right.
Mm-hmm.
How she went from head of security at Pepsi to director of Secret Service, And she was like, when she was questioned on the House, she was just getting lambasted by all the people questioning her, saying, you were a diversity hire. You're the worst person for the job. You need to go back to guarding Doritos. And it was just like, I mean, she quit shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
But when you have people who are being hired because of their minority status and whether it's sex, gender, or whatever, then yes, it does hinder progress.
Well, and there's just certain, like, I don't know, do you want a bunch of dudes like running a daycare?
Right.
Do you want like an all fucking dude daycare? It's like no women. Like, we're just gonna have all these fucking dudes watching your kids. Like, that sounds ridiculous, you know? And it's like, yeah, same thing. You don't really want a bunch of women, no offense, like a bunch of women fucking guarding the president. Like, did you see the video of the
There was actually two or three,
okay, and some of them did fantastic job.
top.
They were right there. They were going for it.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of the women.
the one
like,
girl that couldn't holster her gun.
Yeah,
she tried 6 times to put the gun in her.
And then she was just like,
looking for drones.
I guess I'll
You
just
watch
hold
drones.
my pistol.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I'll just hold it.
it was
You're helping.
like
Good job.
laughable.
Yeah, it really reeked of like, and Trump has even come out and I think defended that girl and was like, oh, she's so great. She's like seriously the most precious. I was gonna say Relief Society. What's the word? Secret Service.
Secret Service. The most
They're very
precious.
similar, by the way, Phil.
Super nice. Yeah.
Did a
Yeah.
fantastic job.
No, yeah, he's like, she's fantastic. But yeah, when you watch that video, you're like, these people I don't know, like, shouldn't at least sometime in the last year they did like a mock assassination attempt, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're
We're
all
gonna
at
drill
this
this.
rally. Now go.
yeah.
Someone just shot at the president, you know? Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
Now we say this, you know, and like obviously it's like it doesn't happen for so long. Probably a lot of people, even if they're maybe well trained or in this job, and it's like so like nobody's shooting, nobody's, you know, it's just like day in, day out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm supposed to pay attention, but nothing's gonna happen today like it did the last 70 days. And then something happens, it's probably like, whoa. But
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
they're saying the sharpshooter, the Secret Service agent that shot the guy,
Yeah.
his response time was like 5 seconds, which is pretty incredible. Like,
Well, you can watch that video, and he's pointing the rifle. You hear the gunshots, and he looks in there, and then he looks up because he's still trying to figure out what's going on. And apparently, there was a tree blocking the shooter, so he's like looking through a tree and saying like, I don't know, but I better shoot him. And so luckily he
one round.
he
got him.
responded as quick as he did.
But what I was going to say is apparently, and this is from Trump on the interview with Elon Musk, he said that guy had been in Secret Service for 20 years and never shot his rifle at anybody.
Yeah.
And so like I'm just backing up the point that you said of like the monotony of just like, yep, got to set up my big old gun on this stupid ass slippery roof, you know.
But
whatever.
but yeah, it's a good point because it only took that guy a couple seconds to be on his game.
Yeah,
You know what I
because he
mean?
was a guy, he wasn't a chick.
No.
You guys.
That's the words
No.
you just said. You were just saying that
No,
a
that's
minute
not
ago.
what I was saying.
I think
I'm leaving.
from my perspective, it seemed like from the moment the first shot was fired, everything appeared to be handled really correctly. They had him to get down. They covered him. They surrounded him. They had shooters in front of the podium. You know, the shooter that actually hit him from behind him. Everything that led up to it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Right.
The way it was handled, lack of communication between the police, Secret Service.
It's like second shift didn't clean up.
Right.
Right.
No, the
walk in and
second
you're like-
shift did the cleanup. The first shift failed.
Yeah, the first shift made the mess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so diversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super
Diversity. Yeah. It's not,
Disney comes out. I think it was an attorney that was being interviewed by someone, and he's one of Disney's attorneys or someone high up in in Disney said, if you're a white male, Disney won't hire you
Yeah.
because you're a white male.
But to be fair, it's very easy to change that.
To change
What do you mean?
Your sex. I mean,
oh yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah,
so
if you say
it's kind of your choice.
if you're a white male but you say you're female, then
Yeah.
they'll be like,
You will get
you
hired
want
quick,
to work
yeah.
at Disney?
Yeah.
Come work at Disney.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
the whole like joke of it.
Yeah.
All these dudes winning,
Yeah,
winning like
dude.
women of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Boxing events, women's
Yeah.
boxing.
Is that bad though necessarily? If they're like, we're not going to hire white people.
No. Yeah. It's called discrimination, Phil.
Mhm.
Yeah, you think so?
I mean, you can't call it a race and say we're not hiring these people.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
I thought
we've done
this-
it in the past.
well,
Don't
you
get me
can't
wrong.
do
I'm
it
not
for
saying,
anyone
like the world's
other
perfect.
than white.
Okay, so segue here. We were talking about assassination attempts. So this is blah 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 blah.
Clearly.
Can you?
So
This is
This
video.
is Secret Service agents. Look at how they're all reacting. This
They're
is
cowering.
Reagan's assassination attempt. They're all like moving in unison.
They are.
Like well,
that cop was hitting the ground.
You're saying that this was
yeah, I don't
better
know. Now
than
that
what
I'm
Trump's-
watching it, it looks the same as Trump's.
I'm gonna retract.
Yeah.
Just looks
No,
like
it doesn't.
mayhem.
They're all male in this one.
Oh, I see.
And they're not doing it any better.
Yeah, I'm not getting the female thing. I don't think the problem was females. I think the problem was like there wasn't a plan.
Well, it was she clearly like that one female that everybody.
There was
calling
one
out,
that was.
she was clearly not trained.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, there's plenty of women that you could find on the internet that know how to fucking draw a
Yeah,
gun.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
like police officer. Yeah,
Angelina
I mean,
Jolie.
Like any
An-
from Texas.
Angelina
Jolie, Scarlett
But-
Johansson. They've all handled guns
yes.
better.
No, but
Alec
as a general
Baldwin.
rule, like, I mean, but then again, as a general rule, in your DNA, it is more likely for a man to be a better protector.
Killer.
Well,
Yeah.
What about
more-
what about mother bears though? They're
True,
like-
you don't
See,
wanna mess
that's
with
true.
them.
You don't ever want to mess with a
You
mother
really
bear.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
Mother
children.
bear. But I would say it comes down to more of like, a mom could rage on you and just fucking pluck your eyes out, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? But a man can generally assess a situation before he decides if he needs to pluck your eyes out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
like a man will be able to take in more factors generally. And this is not like, obviously there's always exceptions to the
I
rule.
love how he's like eyeballing me, like, are you
Well,
gonna
you
jump
better
over
not
and
get
gouge
that-
my eyes
Yeah,
out? in a
exactly.
moment? Yeah.
but like, if we just look back to like hunter-gatherer situations where we came from, like, yeah, the dude's out fucking hunting with a spear and shit. Like,
Yeah.
his reflexes are faster, whatever. So,
See,
yeah,
I
mean, like,
wonder if it can't have something to do with culture too, to play the race
Of course.
card a little bit.
for
here.
sure.
Yeah.
So when I was on my mission in the Philippines, I had a lot of companions who were Samoan, and they would say, and again, this is just a description of Samoan culture by some people I knew, so very anecdotal. But they said in Samoa, women can be and often are as big and as strong as the men, and it's actually just as common or more common for domestic violence to be woman on man in Samoa
when they're that size.
as opposed to
One of my
in reverse.
conspiracy theories is that women are actually the more aggressive ones as a general, but they're just smaller. So that's like
Oh,
well, they hold a
Yeah.
lot of reach. Yeah.
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 I mean, women. Well, they
She's like,
can't
it's building up right now. Actually,
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
You want to see
Yeah.
how much rage?
no, but
That's
yeah.
no, but that's like, and so I was talking with a friend, like, we were like, dude, what if women in general were the same size as like us and as strong as us?
Yeah.
And his response was like, dude, we'd be so fucked.
Yeah.
We'd be so fucked. We'd be just
It's
like a bunch
true.
of slave boys fucking like fixing shit and fucking
Like Black Widow situation.
Not
where
being-
the
straight
male's
the
like
fuck up,
super
dude.
tiny.
Not
Straight the
being
fuck up.
lazy.
But like if women, like,
Getting the to-do list
but then
done.
if you think about that, like, okay, well, why would it be like that? Right? Why is it that a woman would be more aggressive or are generally more aggressive. And why would I say that? I mean, maybe not physically, because like it's not safe for you to physically be aggressive against him because he'll fucking probably kick your ass. You know,
I don't
'cause
know,
he's
Jake.
got,
I feel like I could take you.
he's got.
I'd let you.
Yeah,
I
if
wouldn't
he
do
let you.
anything.
But if it was like if he really wanted to hurt you, he'd hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can be a lot more insidious than Jason can,
Than
right?
Jake.
Jake.
Sorry, than Jake can. You can be a lot more insidious. You can think through a plan, or you can like. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
right, and evolutionarily, right? You had to be like you couldn't just attack the bigger dude. You had to fucking poison his shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Be a little bit
Like-
more manipulative.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
and
It had to be
assess the
like a little
situation.
more
Yeah.
manipulative.
Fentanyl
So
in
Fentanyl.
the cocktail.
That's
See, I
right.
have to disagree a little more because now that I'm thinking about being in the Philippines, even in the Philippines, it was very common for men to be super lazy, and actually men and women were often the same size, and it would be common over there for men and women to fight and women to like win because the woman typically was cleaning the house every day, washing laundry by hand, going outside and cutting, preparing dinner by hand with and the husband would like go over to his buddies, smoke some cigarettes, have a few beers, and then sit and watch cars drive by.
Philippines, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Philippines.
curious,
So different
like
Yeah.
culturally.
I'm like in the northern, states, like you
Uh-huh.
can't just go fucking catch a fish real quick. Like you gotta go fucking hunt a deer.
Yeah.
Like it's winter time.
Right.
So like down south where they're in the Philippines or whatever, it's like they can go throw a net, catch a fish. They got bananas or coconuts or whatever the hell growing. It's like so the need for the man to be big and tough and strong is over time much less. So yeah, it would
Exactly.
make
Yeah.
a lot of sense why those dudes are probably lazy as fuck.
Yeah.
Because they don't really need to be super.
I think that's largely a part of it, like because people can survive, they can get food, extreme poverty, but I do think it's like
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle had a good bit about this because he's like because his wife's Filipina and he's like talking about Manny Pacquiao and why Manny was such a big deal. He's a boxer, if you don't know
Yeah.
who Manny is, and it's because all these men who sit around are just like so emasculated, and so to have this Filipino like winning on the world stage was like when I was in the Philippines, like we'd go door to door or whatever. If it was a Pacquiao fight, it was a ghost town everywhere you went.
Yeah.
And you're like in a city with like
Mm.
10 million people, and there's nobody. No one will answer or look at you. Everyone's like glued to it.
So where they have the
Wow.
power, the women,
yeah,
same size and everything. Yeah, they are more emasculating all the men.
yeah, I would say so. It makes sense. So I don't know. It probably could depend on culture. There
Yeah,
are plenty of
probably a
women
lot of
in this
culture.
country that
I mean,
kick my
because,
butt.
like,
They're probably
in-
everything.
China, and this was especially like 100 years ago, like the women were doing all the work, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
And like the dudes were lazy as fuck. And like, but they were also not emasculated by their women.
Mm.
Like the men would like be lazy as fuck, but then like not be lazy and beat the shit out of his wife, and make sure that she was doing the fields, or she'd like go and have the kids alone. Like, the Chinese like culture is nuts. So that's a little different than yours,
Yeah.
and the women in the Chinese culture are very timid and whatever. But yeah, that's probably one of my recent theories that I've come up with is that women are definitely more aggressive than men for sure.
It's
but
true.
they show it less. Like it's more easy for a man to be like, fuck you, like to your face and get all
Mhm.
pissed off. But like a woman would be more likely to like put some poison in your
Women are
fucking
like more
food.
smart. Sounds like.
I think generally
Yeah.
speaking, men and women have different roles, and I think a lot of
Way,
it
yeah.
Yeah.
a lot
sure.
of it has to do with culture, and certain
Yeah.
cultures are different. Did you want to listen to what I'm saying, Phil? Or are you gonna
I'm
watch
kind of
videos?
listening. I'm trying to pull this video up.
Jeez, Phil.
Well, and that's like
Background music.
the whole big problem that's going on with our culture today is that the lines are becoming so blurred and crossed. Like, you know, what is a man? What is a woman? Whatever the fuck.
See, and that's I was
know?
going to kind of get to that, where it's like, okay, if we can just agree that yes, generally speaking, men and women have two separate roles.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, there's of course exceptions all over the place.
Sure.
Sometimes it's like, you know what, honey, you go work and make the money because you're a badass, and I'm really good with taking care of the
be
kids.
quiet now. Did you guys see this?
Oh my gosh, Phil.
This Utah mom just did American Ninja Warrior, and it's like ridiculous. I can't like my back's
bad?
broken. I can't.
Like,
No,
my back's
she's like
broken.
amazing.
How old is she?
I don't know. What does she
Oh,
look
look
like?
how
He
cute.
looks
That's
so
five.
Mormon.
her husband,
Yeah.
probably.
Like this is the stuff she's doing. I'm like,
What is it? Okay, Phil.
Wait.
Mhm. Go on.
this is not the one I watched.
She can defend Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, this isn't the one I watched. the
Phil,
other
you
day.
just wasted my life.
Yeah.
I
I like
mean, she does
interrupted
look
you and
great.
everything. Okay, here we go. Like, look at this stuff she's doing.
Dang.
Yeah, we've seen American Ninja Warrior.
No, you haven't.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, we have.
You got to watch the part that gets
But here, this is gonna
like,
be
what the f? She's like swinging off of rings.
Yeah, Phil. But this is gonna be case, and you're gonna prove a situation that you don't want to prove, which is if you watch the men on this exact same course, it'll be like 27 seconds faster.
It doesn't matter. I can't do this.
Phil, no
I
one's
can't
claiming
even-
that they can.
Yeah, I can't.
Phil,
even,
of
like,
course
could do
you
that.
can. Look
Dakota
at her. She's
could.
doing it.
Yeah, I could do that.
You could totally do it.
yeah, Dakota probably really could.
Just turn all of these things that she's
So,
grabbing
watch
into
this.
oak branches.
So this is Dakota, like tree branch to tree branch.
I like
Yeah.
your broad
That's what I look like. Yeah, exactly. yeah.
He's got a sports bra on. and
Very
everything.
nice. Clutimus. Maximus.
Oh,
Yeah, see, I would have reached that because my
Yeah.
arms are longer.
Yeah.
'Cause you're a man.
Yeah, because I'm
because
a
you're like a
man.
monkey. Oh my gosh, my shoulders are now dislocated.
No, she is tough as shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
For
look
sure.
it's amazing. Her name is you should look her up, listener.
Jacqueline with a QUI.
Maddie Howard.
Yeah.
She's
just
a
pulled her arms out
Utah
of the sockets.
Utah
and she's
mom,
still going.
and she's just like killing it on America Ninja Warrior right now. She's swinging from like a bunch of bells and like.
Oh,
she
you
fell
lose.
She fell 'cause
She
she's a
lost.
woman.
Yeah, 'cause
Anyway.
she's a woman.
This is
Camera
the one I
check
was
out.
watching. The one I was
Sorry.
watching, she like broke the record or whatever.
Yeah.
For a mom,
freaking
I
amazing.
think it was. So
Wow.
anyway,
Good job, Phil. Thanks for sidebarring that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out that women.
Women can do it too.
Yeah, they can do it too.
Yeah.
They
Thanks,
can,
guys.
Yeah.
but when you hire someone because they are not a man, because of their gender,
Yeah.
Yes, that's no good.
then that's where, like you're saying,
Yeah.
progress stops.
Yeah.
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 You should hire based on qualifications.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it
Agree
was
with
Delta that said that they're going to start hiring more women pilots or something, and I'm like, go for it, as long as more women pilots who are qualified are applying.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have probably 9 to 10 to 1 male to female applicants. So naturally, you're probably going to hire
Yeah.
10 to 1 male to female.
Right.
But if you exclude all of the qualified males because they're males, then
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, I think a lot of that too is systemic, like in regards to women being in the workplace. Like it's still relatively a new thing. you
Taking
know?
our damn jobs.
All them illegal women.
That's actually one of the
Legal
one
women.
one of the factors that play into like why there's seemingly less jobs or why you have to work so much more is because introducing women into the workforce, then you just introduce double amount of the people that now need jobs.
Mhm.
So
You know?
getting in the conspiracy theory, when you eliminate the differences between men and women and how they're all equal, you now just level the playing field of like everybody's an employee. Everybody's a worker.
100%.
So now you used to basically have men as a workforce and
Yep.
women stayed at home.
Yep.
Now, if you fight for women's rights, this is a legitimate conspiracy theory I've heard of. I'm not saying I believe it, but it is very
I believe it
interesting.
100%.
You elevate the women to be equal with men, and then that was kind of the first step. But men and women are clearly still separate, right?
Mhm.
But now, if you also start blurring the lines of gender definitions, men and women, now you just have this vanilla workforce where everyone's the same. And now instead of whatever, 500,000 people to work at your factory, you like a 500,000 people to work at your factory, like a pool of people to hire. You now have 1.5 million because you kind of have all these other people involved. And now it's like,
and it's not even that's like, if women want to work, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like that's totally fine.
In fact, I strongly encourage it.
For
These bills don't pay themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's the sad thing. It like, it should be where only one person in the family has to fucking work.
Yeah,
to,
for the kids'
Yeah,
sake.
it's no longer possible.
Opinion.
That
Like
would be
whether
nice.
it's the man or the woman,
Yeah.
Like my mom, like you couldn't tell her not to work.
Yeah, I was going to say
Kidding.
some women need that outside of the
yeah.
house, like to have fulfillment.
And
outside
some women
of
are
that,
way
because
better
there's-
at working than their
than
spouse
being
or husband.
yeah.
But then like some women will be like, yeah, I wish I didn't even have to think about voting. Like my wife says this. Like she's like, yeah, I mean, if you could just do that, that would be cool. Like
About doing what? Voting?
any duty that she was given with the woman's equals right.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't give a shit about any of that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
going to work, voting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Funny.
that's
It
not
is an individualistic thing, I
Yeah,
think,
it's
because
not-
there are a lot of women that, love that role.
sure,
And it's-
yeah.
Yeah.
And they
you know?
don't and that shit doesn't really affect them when they're in that role,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which and to each their own. Like
You know-
really,
Yeah.
really.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny, sir. For as sexist as I sound, I just want to make sure you guys understand something. So,
You're,
I have two business partners.
Jeff is the least sexist person you've
I've
ever
gotten,
met.
I've gotten endorsements from the female
From the
population,
Yeah.
The women love
the
me.
best
Yeah.
female population.
The most inclusive.
But my company is me and my business partner, who's Ben, and everybody else are female. Out of 8 of us, 7 of us, 8 of us.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
women have.
So
their
you guys
benefits.
don't really get too much done then, do you?
We're closed
Oh,
1
snap.
week out of every month. Is it true?
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. But luckily they're all moon.
No,
But
the
it's
truth.
the-
The
but it's
truth
the same
is
week.
the truth is the amount of organization and work ethic is incredible, and I've actually had difficulty with that. I've gone through many project managers and many different people, men and women, and frankly, the girls kick ass.
Well, I think this is a
Way more
new
organized,
time. Really, it's a new
for sure.
experience. Like it has never been like this before. So
Yeah.
for us to say like this is the way it needs to be done versus like how
Well, yeah,
it's
like you said, culture.
evolving. Yeah,
culture.
how it's evolving. I feel like as a society, we will evolve
Yeah,
and
we will.
adapt.
But
yeah,
the thing I think that we're having such a big problem with, and why we're going to see maybe a civil war, is because there is such blurry lines with the
Yeah.
culture.
yeah,
And so there really is no culture right now. There is no like fucking, like
Yeah.
American tradition. That shit's kind of all gone out the window. Yeah,
yeah.
we do the
It's
4th of
definitely a
July, but-
transitioning period of time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean? Like here's one that people always ask. Let me put this question to you guys. What is the American dream?
It's when you dream about
Like-
America.
Like, people say that all the time. What is it?
well,
I-
Well, I
You
mean,
go, Jeff.
I could answer you that in a lot of ways, but I mean, it's changed, right? But I think that like for our parents, it was, be really successful, buy a house,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, blah, blah, blah.
White picket fence,
Sure.
Yeah,
I think the
apple
American
pie on the windowsill.
But that's for our parents. That's like what our parents, that was their American dream in their eyes. But like to a dude in fucking India, it's like, go to America and be successful. What does that
Yeah.
mean to him?
yeah.
Like, what does success mean to him? And it's like, well, not like having dirt roads everywhere.
Not being
Not-
oppressed
Yeah.
by your government.
Yeah, exactly. Having like clean food that isn't fucking infested with flies. on
Not
the
have
side
to
of the
walk
road.
8
Yeah.
miles to get water.
not
having-
working at a scamming
Being able to
facility.
be in a car. So like, being able to get a car that works, or
Yeah.
like being able to get a job. So
Yeah.
like there's a lot of opportunity that America still affords that nobody else can have
Yeah.
in the rest of the world.
I
You
think
know?
the American dream, the way I would define it, is no matter where you come from, whether it's a rich dude California to a poor person in Louisiana to an Indian person in India to whatever, you can come to America and achieve your goals. Like whatever that is, if that means just having a clean water running through your house and a safe place to live, that's the American dream for that person.
Yeah.
Or if you're a entrepreneur in Northern California, like growing $1 billion industry, like if that's your dream, then you can do that here.
Yeah.
That's the American dream, is the facility to execute your goals.
And it is going away. Like,
Yeah.
I think, it's getting harder and harder, like for every generation,
Well, even most basically, if it is like if someone's dream, for example, is to buy a house, like
can't really do that no more.
yeah. It's
Like,
crazy.
If you're average, you're not buying a house.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Goggins this. Just kidding. Who's that guy?
David.
Dave Goggins.
David Goggins. Yeah.
Come on, pussy. Just start. Work harder. Don't be average.
Yeah.
Come on. You want a house? Stop being so average.
Another great conspiracy that just ties into all this is the Federal Reserve printing all the money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Our birth certificates is like our paperwork for it's like our sign up paperwork for the fucking federal government.
Like we're the corporate
Corporate, like corporate
bumblebees.
yeah, exactly. Like we're
honeybees.
they're corporate entities, and so we have our birth certificate, which is because of that certification, we pay taxes. But they print the money, and then they ask for it back.
Are you going to get into
Isn't that
maritime
really weird?
law right now?
Right. Oh yeah, they do that shit, dude.
Maritime Admiralty.
Yeah.
Whoa, you
Yeah.
know about maritime admiralty?
Yeah, 100%. Think about like
Oh my god!
all the the wordplay that they do, like judges and lawyer. I think all these words like the bar, sandbar, like all this shit comes
Whoa,
from like
you are a conspiracy theorist.
yeah. Well, is that
He's a historian.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. His father-in-law was talking about, and we were like, "What are you?"
So, I can't even
talking
remember the
about?
details, but it was
Yeah.
basically that your birth certificate is like somehow connected in maritime law terms to
so your
turn
birth
you into-
certificate is all caps,
okay.
right? Look at your birth certificate, and it's written in all caps.
Uh-huh.
You sound
Oh
like
my
my
God.
father-in-law
Yeah.
right now.
Right?
I'm paying
Okay.
attention now. Okay, go.
Okay.
And
Keep
so
going.
that's a shell entity, your birth certificate. That is not you.
Uh-huh.
That is an entity with your all caps name,
Uh-huh.
right? And that is what is used to quote unquote do business with the American government, right? So in the 1865, when he ratified slavery or whatever and created that next amendment, he made us all slaves and he turned America into a corporation.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes. Right? And he turned America.
What?
America became a corporation.
So what's the thing?
Like-
What was he saying about like when you're born? Because it's like
Birth
wet.
canal.
It's wet in the birth canal, and that's
'Cause
like
it's
a body
water.
of water, and that's why you're.
You're bound to maritime.
Yeah,
you're
he
bound
knows
to-
this. Yeah, he knows this deep. He knows this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Super.
Literally.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
thought about
Yeah.
it.
well, yeah. I mean, so they used I've seen videos where people argue their way out of court where judges just get like so upset. They're just like, I don't even know what you're talking about. To leave the fucking courtroom. And then like the guy's like, all right, well, fine. I'm leaving.
Because
He's
he's
like-
throwing all this conspiracy stuff at him.
Yeah, he's saying like, I am not the all caps name that you are persecuting. I am the living man. Like
I am not the entity.
What
that
do they
was
call
developed.
It's a
I've gotta
sovereign
look that up.
citizen
yeah,
or whatever.
sovereign citizen. But I don't know. I don't know if any of that fucking works. And so, and maybe it is the truth. Maybe if you like really look at it deeply and you think about it on a spiritual level, that shit is probably the truth, right? Like, because really, like, you're just a human here on Earth.
Mhm.
Like, you're not beholden to a fucking laws because you were born.
Yeah.
You're just a human here on Earth, right? And we all are.
Yeah.
So what would
But
be?
society is good. I mean, like, if we think about like what life's not like without society, or we think about like the progress and what we can do with technology. And like, I think that being a part of society, and even if it was to pay a little bit of taxes, like there's no fucking problem with that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if that was needed, but they print the money. So they print the money and then they tell us to give it back to them, which doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Or,
You know?
makes less sense than that, though. They don't print the money. They just change numbers on a screen.
Well, yeah, they don't. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
physically printed or gold, like that makes sense. But like I can't remember. We've talked about it before, but it's like when you get paid, like, well, most people, I shouldn't say you, but when a lot of people get paid, literally just numbers change on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just swipe a card and then the number changes and then you type in numbers and then numbers, and it's just numbers just move around. There's no actual transaction, like
Yeah.
transfer
just all
of
these
anything.
fake-ass
If
numbers,
everybody in the country at the same time went to the bank and said, I want all my cash out,
Oh, everybody in the country
It
would be
would
like
be-
20% of us.
there would be a massive financial crash because there's no.
Yeah.
I think it's like
Well, they would just
only
say no.
10% of the world's money is actual physical money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's all digital otherwise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But how do you create that? Like it's
Well, it used
It's
to
hard-
all be
it's-
backed
when it's
by
not
gold or
printed.
silver.
But I'll tell you
Yeah,
what,
we
it's backed by now,
left that.
and probably the one thing that's really propping up the American dollar and has been for a while.
Soybeans.
No,
I'm just kidding.
drugs,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
Like that's like the biggest. It's like one of the largest parts of the American economy or American dollar. The economy that's tied behind the American dollar.
Now,
is
when you say drugs, are you talking like
It's
Mexican narcotics,
pharmaceutical
or
drugs, or
black market anything.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter whether it's drugs or anything on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
black market is going to be sold in dollar bills. So
Did you guys see Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last season,
The
they kind of
documentary.
dive into that, where the FBI would have an opportunity to destroy this cartel, this specific cartel. And basically the FBI or whoever it was, CIA, I don't know, they were just basically like, no, we're keeping it in place. As
Yeah.
long as we're guaranteed X amount of seizures,
yeah,
like if we can take this money that's being transported, a certain amount of truckloads, like if you send 10 trucks of money, we want 2 of them. As
Yeah, I
long as
think
we
it's
can
way
keep
more
this going on,
interwoven.
we'll let you keep going.
yeah.
And obviously that'd be like a small example. I mean, but
Yeah.
apparently it was many, many, many millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But the FBI was
Billions.
just basically like, cool, thank you for the money. We're going to put that over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what other movie I watched recently about one of those
Deadpool.
drug smugglers, but it was based on a true story, and that was kind of the same thing. The CIA was like pretty much like, no, this is like part of the plan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's and I think there's been enough evidence that's come out that's kind of like common knowledge. One, that the Mexican government is pretty much owned by the cartels,
Yeah.
and that our government facilitates that somehow.
Yeah.
Like we get our politicians get up and say, "Oh, the cartels," but really behind closed doors, like there's some kind of deal going on.
I wouldn't be
Because
surprised.
yeah, and if you think about it, like drugs coming into our country, killing people, like tons of people, thousands of people are dying,
Yeah.
should be like a national emergency worthy of like,
Yeah.
military
Everything.
on the border, whatever, but
Yeah.
it hasn't been even anything. And I think that's got to be, there's my conspiracy theory.
I
for
mean,
you.
just with how hard it is for just, shit like that, cost of living.
Yeah.
There's going to be some sort of break, and then there's never been a time in history when these things weren't happening to a civilization and then the civilization.
before it fell.
Well, yeah,
Or
or just
fought.
fucking revolted,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, went and grabbed all the rich people they could find and burned them at the stake type shit,
Yeah.
Um,
You
And
know
who
what
knows?
you know what I think is going to be the tipping point?
Hmm.
When you have enough, like right now, they're like all the kids that are like 40 and living with their parents. But when those kids have kids while living with their parents, and then those kids have kids, they're going to be like 3 generations in the house, like arguing about how to raise kids.
That's the thing is like
and it's gonna be like everyone's gonna be like,
We'll call
no.
it domestic war.
People aren't
Yeah.
having kids. Like the birth rate is
Yeah,
super low. So like when we're old, there's going to be like way less people to take care of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're going to outnumber.
or
Our-
replace our
you know.
jobs.
Yeah, exactly. And then who's going to replace our jobs? But we're going to run into that even with the boomers, like, and especially like, in like, you know, any sort of manual type trade skill. We're going to have a huge problem in the next 10, 20 years where like a lot of these boomers are going to retire and phase out. And there's not going to be enough people to know how to like fix these things.
Yeah.
And like shit's going to go like really to shit. Like if you think the infrastructure's bad now, if we don't get a handle on it, like right now, like in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, this country is literally going to fall apart. Like quite literally. And that's like not even conspiracy. That's just what's happening. But the thing is, this is happening all over the world. Like China, they're going to have probably an even bigger collapse. It's estimated over the next 20 years, they're going to have like 100 million people die.
Yeah, and they've got,
You know,
they
they got billions.
they
You know,
they
um,
reverted their single child thing, right?
yeah,
That was a while
Mhm.
ago.
that was
Yeah.
a while ago.
But that's
but
a sign of like, hey, there's a problem here.
Well, no, I think they're saying it was like too little, like they did it too long.
it was too
It's-
little,
It's
too late.
already
Yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
worried about their
And-
population. I don't see. I kind of don't get that though, because I would like there to be a lot less people.
Yeah, I'm like,
So-
are we overpopulated
Well, I think
already?
That's like a. I personally like think the whole overpopulation. Yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of people here,
Yeah.
like right now for sure. I've traveled the whole country and there's plenty of open space.
Yeah. Well, and
know?
I think that's part of the problem is there's plenty of open space, but we can't live there. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like either it's privately, like so many people own like, 200-acre plantations in Montana or whatever, and they're like, I'm not subdividing this. Or the U.S. government owns like the
what sort of-
entire Western United States.
Question
What?
on that statement. What
Yeah.
sort of plantation you running in Montana?
Sorry, not plantation.
I'd like to
hear.
Tobacco?
Bear sanctuary. Is
Okay, that's better.
A ranch.
Yeah, ranch.
Yeah, okay.
A big ranch, or the U.S. government. I mean, just Utah alone is what, like 80%
Yeah, mostly
federal
owned.
land.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like
It's
holy
72,
smokes,
I think.
that's a lot of land
Yeah.
we could be living in.
I wonder if the U.S. government did that in spite of the Mormons.
They did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to cut it down here. They sliced the Deseret up down to what it is now. And they're like,
Yeah.
plus we're going to take 70% of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Mormons kind of pissed them off, right?
Yeah.
It was the only time.
Yeah, we did.
It was the only time since the Civil War that the U.S. government sent armed troops against its own citizens.
Hmm.
So supposedly, before the Civil War broke off, there were more U.S. government troops stationed in Utah than anywhere in the country. And then the war broke out, and they all had to get called out.
Yeah.
But they were like here to keep an eye because things were kind of getting hot and heavy in that time.
Yep.
But they were worried about like,
They're worried about the
Basi-
Mormons uniting and
well, yeah, they were
trying to-
basically worried about the Mormons becoming a country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was, who was the guy before Lincoln that was president? I forget.
Grant?
Maybe it was Grant.
Clinton.
Anyway, I think they think he was like,
No, that Grant came after, didn't he?
I
don't know.
can't remember who it was, but the Civil War was kind of brewing. Everyone was like getting nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mormons was like this good scapegoat thing. Like, let's take attention off of that. The Mormons over there. But then like once
James Buchanan.
Buchanan, that's
Yeah.
it. So they sent troops over and everything. But yeah, when the Civil War got riled up, then they were like, okay, we can't
Yeah.
mess around with that anymore.
Mormon. I think the Mormons are pretty badass back then.
They were.
Yeah, they were.
I'll just say
Oh.
that no Mormon alive did this today.
Yeah.
But
Good
back-
preface. Yeah.
but back in the
Yeah,
day,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the Mormons more or less massacred, not more or less, they did. They massacred a bunch of natives
Yeah.
in this
In this
area
area.
that we now call Pleasant Grove.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it was
more
called-
than one area. That
well,
area,
that
but also
yeah, I mean, they were
down
massacring
south.
yeah,
and, yeah.
basically all over the state. But then they called it Battle Creek for so long, but then like the Mormons didn't like that. They're like, let's
they
change it
pleasantly
to Pleasant
groved
Grove. And I just think that's...
Oh, really? The town was called Battle Creek?
It used to be
Yes,
called Battle Creek.
it used
wow.
to be called Battle Creek, and I just think that was a very Mormon move. I mean,
Yeah.
no offense, but
Just sweep it under the rug.
yeah.
Pleasant.
Call it the opposite.
Yeah.
Pleasant Grove. Yeah, Pleasant
Mm.
Grove, like from Battle Creek, this place that they,
Yeah.
kill all these Indians and chase the last surviving one to the top of the mountain
Yeah.
where she either slipped or jumped. That's the
Timpanogos.
yeah.
Well,
The
no,
story.
you're talking. Or are you talking about Timpanogos, or were you talking about?
That's the same story, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because the Battle Creek, it started there, but it ended up in those mountains.
Holy hell.
Yeah, like it was like a 2-day siege or some shit, and like they chased a bunch of the Indians into the mountains, and they like were killing them off one by one to the final woman.
So we
See,
had
See,
a,
and
that fell.
I thought it was, pardon my French, Squaw Peak was
Oh,
where
you
that
can't say
ended
that
up,
word.
which is now called Kiev Peak.
Kiev
Mhm.
Peak.
And
yeah.
I think they called it.
like the Ukrainian
Squaw
country?
Ledge, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a couple Squaw Ledges in Utah.
No,
where
maybe.
similar things have happened.
And I hadn't realized. I thought I was kind of up in arms, like, why'd they change the name? But apparently, squaw is like the native term for
Making out.
bitch, pretty much.
Oh.
Oh.
and
Yeah.
and
I didn't
so
know that, yeah.
and
The
so that's why they
derogatory
changed
word.
it. I don't know what
Mm.
Kiev means, but that's what that was.
Kiev is
And-
literally a city in Ukraine, right?
Kiev. Yeah.
Or
it's-
Kiev,
It's
or
spelled,
however you-
spelled differently.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, I say that because that's what I thought that was the story, that she ended on that ledge and jumped off, and that's why they called it that
The
name.
Make out
Yeah.
point.
But maybe Timpanogos also has one. I don't know.
I don't know
Mm.
the Timpanogos.
So, what's interesting about that is that the face of Timpanogos was apparently frequented by the Native Americans, because we had the treasure hunter guy on here who was saying they found, he believes that there is treasure stored and buried on the face of Timpanogos. Like,
yeah,
and when you look at the face, it's like, who goes up there? How can you even really get up there?
get up that.
But
Because
he
it's
thought,
a very
he thought there was Spaniards, though Spanish gold.
Right, but I think it was from the natives.
Well,
like,
yeah, but
going
the
up in those
Spanish were
hills.
just so like the Spanish were all up in this because they went and met with the Aztecs, or not the Aztecs,
Incans,
the Incas
Mayans.
or Mayans, right? And like Montezuma.
Mhm.
And then supposedly when they sacked that city down there, a bunch of people from that, the Mayans or whatever, ran with all the gold up to Utah into the Uintas, and they hid that here.
Yeah.
Or somewhere in Utah. And then Montezuma, or not, the Spanish chased them, and then that's where this became Mexico, more or less. But that was like the Uintas. Like,
Yeah, but that was another thing that I think you've actually mentioned to me offhanded, like how you've heard that the Native Americans would talk about the Uintas and how you could just walk down on the rock faces and just find boulders of gold.
Yeah. That's like old native legend. You could like go into the Uintas, and because the way those mountains, they're like constantly like kind of like
Curling
curling over those mountains. So they like lose rock down the side of it, but they also gain like a millimeter per year while losing.
Revealing what was underneath.
Yeah, so it's like constantly sprouting, and you get these like big earthquakes that'll like put out these big mud streams.
You can tell in Provo Canyon that the mountains, like the cliff edges, are going up. Like they've been pushing up.
Yeah, and then it like falls down, and supposedly that's how the geology of the Uintas work. But there's like super high gold concentrations in the Uintas, and the gold used to be like so plentiful here in this area, and the natives just saw it as like a rock,
Or like a medium to be able to manipulate and make art.
Yeah, exactly.
It
And
was like the kids' clay project.
it wasn't like a money thing.
This is their
for them.
sidewalk chalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just wipe their
So
ass
they
with
would
it.
just gather all this shit and fill up caves with it. Like, all the gold that they'd see around, they'd just fill up caves with it. And that's what they used to make all the Mayan treasure and stuff.
Wow.
Which the Montezuma's treasure is probably in a lake, if this is true at all. But there's like this little pond lake that a couple divers here in Utah have lost their life in, I think.
When you say
And-
lake, you meant water trap.
Yeah.
Whirlpool.
Yeah,
Whirlpool.
pretty
Yeah, I
much.
know
Yeah.
exactly what
Portal.
you're talking about.
Wormhole.
A
Wormhole.
wormhole, yes.
No, literally a water trap. That's the story. Is that it was right?
Well, yeah.
Are we talking the same thing?
Maybe the same thing. Like a couple divers would go in. I think one or two lost their life or something, and then a couple others that have gone under there have like come back up and like said they were fucking hallucinating when they were under there. And
Really?
Then, yeah, and then this guy like bought this piece of equipment. He drilled in and found this cavern that was like right next to this water hole,
Mm-hmm.
and he bought this piece of equipment to like dig it out. And like the day he goes to get started, like his equipment is just like filled with sand.
Oh, was this on a show?
I think I saw this on a show
Yeah.
or maybe a YouTube or something like that.
Not the story of Oak Island or whatever.
No. This guy's excavator was like filled with sand and shit. So he gets it all fixed, and this native dude comes and he's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't dig in there. Like you should just like
Walk away.
walk away. Stop. Like you're gonna die if you dig in there.
Yeah.
Unless it's cursed."
Yeah. I
And-
think this was some type of reality show that I
Yeah, like
remember seeing.
yeah.
It. Yeah.
And it actually kind of makes sense. Like if you in Mexico, and this is kind of conspiracy theory, so here we go. In Mexico, where the Mayans and the Incans and all of them that had apparently rooms of gold. That's where like the Indiana Jones story comes up. But the Spaniards reported
Mhm.
it. They'd sent their scouts or whatever you want to call them, their missionaries, and then they would go back to Spain and go, "Oh, holy crap, we need to go down there because there's like a lot of gold." But the natives and the Mexicans would come up to Utah, which was part of Mexico at the time, mine the gold or just pick it up off the ground, apparently, and bring it back. And so when they got rid of it from Mexico, and I think they brought it back up to here, and they stored it wherever they stored it. So
Suppose they hid it somewhere. Yeah,
yeah,
Utah's an interesting place. Yeah.
Really is. We need that treasure hunter guy here.
It's
too.
a great place to be if the world ends. Like if the global like cohesion with the world, if that goes to shit, Utah would be a good place to.
Well, that's because
ride that
the
out.
Mormons have
Yeah,
all the food
I was-
storage.
Well,
I
not
was gonna say,
only
that's
that,
because of the
like
Mormons.
not only
actually.
that, but we have like
salt.
we have every resource within this state, or mostly within this state, but all the surrounding ones as well, to continue a modern civilization.
Yeah,
So like we would do pretty well here.
we'll probably be eating jackrabbit meat, but
That's fine.
yeah,
Well, we have like great farms.
Yeah.
So like if we could continue our farms, we have all the mines for any type of material that we
Yeah.
would need. We have plenty of oil
yeah.
in Utah.
See, so it might be better. Might not be so dystopian.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I think that we are going to head into some very uneasy times, but I think that for when my kids, they're 8 and 5 and 3, when they're in their late 20s, things will probably get really fucking cool for them. You know,
Yeah.
if we all make it through, but like it'll be like another
Cool by you mean like society will
We'll be
collapsed?
restructuring.
like post-apocalyptic.
No,
like-
I don't think that like that's never happened.
Oh,
Like, I mean, just think about like, first of all, the nuclear war that we're all told that it'll destroy the planet would not destroy the planet.
yeah,
Like, even if all the nukes went off, like it just would not destroy the planet. There'd be a lot more people that would survive that than you would think. Second, like the people that are going to survive any major big disaster in the world, there's going to be a lot of intelligent people that know where they came from and we're going to know how to run a lot of this technology that we still have. So like Rome fell, you know, that was in Italy, and they covered the whole Mediterranean Sea, right? On the other side was also Rome, but we know it as the Byzantine Empire. And so when Rome and Italy fell, shit went on like nothing ever happened in Byzantine, whatever.
yeah.
Like nothing ever happened. So yeah, America could fall, like DC could get blown to shit, but like
That's true.
Utah could be really just fine. And yeah, it would affect us
Probably better off if DC blew up.
Honestly, it would be
something
better.
like that. So like
Yeah.
yeah, there could be a lot of areas that would be very negatively affected on the planet
Right.
if we went into like some sort of great war like that, which I mean, there's usually one every century, you know, some sort of great global
Yeah.
catastrophe or war. But then after those, like those wars, they always create like, you know, penicillin or, you know, like the things that came out of World War I and World War II saved like 50 times more lives than World War I and World War II took. If you took all the things that and then right after World War II, the Great War, like the biggest war the world has ever seen, we had the greatest growth in human development in human history.
Yeah.
After World War II.
Yep, 1945 to the 1970s.
Yeah.
It was like no better time to be an American.
What do they call it? The Great Boom, or
that's the boomer generation.
The Great.
The boomers.
Yep.
Yeah,
Baby
but what do
boomers.
they call that? They actually have a name for that
Yeah.
era.
The greatest generation.
No,
The
not
Great
the people.
Boomers.
It's no that
But
that was
Kaboom.
the time
Boom,
is
boom.
called the
Boom, boom. Yeah, that's it, Phil.
the Great Boom or
Yeah.
something. I can't remember.
So whatever
Boom, boom.
happens, you know, over the next,
Boom.
it's probably 10,
The
20 years tops.
Yeah.
But for our kids, it's probably going to be pretty freaking sweet.
See,
Yeah.
I hope you're right. I do worry a little bit because I feel like I've thought that way maybe most of my life, that Utah will be good
Yeah.
until COVID happened. And when COVID
What's the
happened,
COVID jar? You say COVID, you
oh
gotta
yeah,
put a thing
you gotta
in
put
there?
something in there. Yeah, you remember. It's been a long time. And I saw people just like losing their minds over this what I thought was like a small change in like our society. Like, have we not gotten so? Is there, like, you talk about ancient Rome and stuff, where like my perception is like they got so big and so powerful and everyone got so comfortable and is like, well, we don't have to have a lot of armies anymore. We're the best. We win.
Yeah.
And then they fall. Like, now as a society, are we not like so comfortable with our lives that like the smallest little change in people just like panic? And that was nothing. Like,
Yeah.
like imagine the water supply being poisoned due to nuclear
Sure.
fallout or something like.
Yeah.
And will people not just like lose it? Like, even in Utah, maybe.
Yeah, we're pretty fragile right
I
now.
think
I
that
don't know.
we would definitely see some super negative effects
Yeah.
in that sense. You know, we're probably going to have some sort of revolution, and like those people that can't hold their shit together, they're usually the people that like start the revolutions because they're so, you know,
Revolutionary.
yeah, upset
Emotionally,
with the status quo or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And they're also the first ones to get killed in the revolution. So like, I think that, yeah, if we do have some big war that happens over the next 10, 15 years, like most likely the stupid people are going to get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
We
really.
can only hope.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not saying who's dumb or not, but
But-
we can only hope.
I don't know. Yeah. And I think the overpopulation thing, I think that's like a myth that's put on by
Yeah.
like people up top.
Yeah.
Because they're like sick of people being there taking what they think is theirs.
Yeah.
So like that's just like some thing that we teach our society so that eventually it'll like shrink itself.
Yeah. There's plenty there. Like I was saying, it's just not too much of it has been like hoarded.
Yeah.
Like in the Philippines is a great example because like I can't remember the exact number, but I think less than like
7.
1/3% of Filipinos are like actual landowners.
Hmm.
So like the overwhelming majority aren't even like legitimate renters. They're like squatters. Like
Mhm.
they literally just build a house that might be bulldozed tomorrow or
Wow.
whatever. Like,
Hmm.
and there's a ton of land in the Philippines. Like it's probably the size of Utah, 100+ million people. And it's all squished into probably the same kind of areas that Utah's population is.
Right.
Like there's a lot of open
Damn.
land, but
Yeah.
it's all owned by people who own the
Someone
rice
else,
fields
yeah.
and all that. So something's got to change to where, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not saying take that away from people, but maybe say, hey, if you're going to hold on to this extra part, ranch that you have 4 ranches, we're going to start taxing that one a lot more so that you're motivated to give it up. Or I don't know. I don't know what you don't think so?
No, that was dumb, Phil.
What do you think?
Like,
Damn,
if
Jeff.
you own like 5,000 acres,
Tell
you
us
should
how
be
you really think.
punished.
Well, what's the solution?
What are you trying to solve? Housing stuff?
No, I'm saying if you own 5 ranches and people need homes to live, like places to live.
But selling a ranch isn't going to do anything for homes.
Oh yeah.
The problem with the housing stuff is that billion-dollar companies are buying houses as investments.
Yeah, I would say that's
And
the
jacking
biggest
up the
problem
price.
is that, like, we have plenty of homes and we got more homes being built all the time.
Yeah.
And like there's enough homes to house everybody in America. There's enough homes built.
There's portfolio managers that are buying homes now.
But
Well-
they won't be if you like dramatically expand people's access to buying real estate, make it a
No.
lot cheaper,
No.
then they won't be
It's-
buying it because it
No.
won't be a big booming thing. Like
yeah,
you-
we've
you-
dramatically expanded. I mean, you go look on the west side of Salt Lake City. We've dramatically expanded it in the last 5 years.
Yeah, but that
And you know who? In most of the purchases are not single families; it's corporations.
well because
companies.
they can't compete with those.
Nobody could compete
Nobody
with a
can.
corporation.
Yeah.
Right.
Your income can't compete
But-
with a corporation.
But we're still way behind. All the expansion we've done in Utah, they say we're like less than half.
if
of
we
where
want to
need be.
satisfy single families and corporations, I'm saying cut the corporations off.
Yeah.
Be
Well-
like if you're not an individual, you don't get. To
You're just
purchase
talking
houses.
about who owns the home. We're talking about total numbers of homes.
hmm
Like, and if there are more homes, the price goes down, which is good for people.
Yeah.
It's not good for portfolio managers or people who invest in homes as a way of like increasing their wealth.
Yeah.
But as far as like people just having a place to live, the more houses you have, the more accessible that's going to
That's true.
be. So,
Well, it all
That's
comes
true.
back to fixing the money.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which like
Let's just go out to the middle of Wyoming
Yeah.
and start building neighborhoods. Like
Yeah.
high
That's the
density housing.
solution?
Yeah, it'd be more houses, right?
yeah.
I
I-
hate you, Phil.
Yeah.
I think they need to. This is where it's all been headed. Here you go. Here it comes.
We gotta hate Phil every
We
once in
need
a
to
while.
do like an
No.
old west style land grab thing, like
Uh-huh.
in the West Desert of Utah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
I'm
they
down
divvy
for that.
it all
Manifest
up,
destiny.
and they just give you a horse
flag
and a
and-
flag,
yeah.
and they say best,
Claim your
first
spot.
one there gets it.
Yeah.
And you get there, you get out there, you
Yep.
plant it,
Like
and they're like,
Surge.
you get the water rights, you get the
Yeah.
and you
the
just gotta
mineral
kill
rights.
whoever is there.
exactly
Yeah. Like,
no rules.
like, yeah.
Like
if somebody lives there, you just kill them.
You
Yeah.
guys, I
Yeah.
would dominate.
And they might battle you too. But you just hope
and,
you win.
and Amber will win
I would
because she's
because
the
I'm
most.
a woman.
This
she's
would
the
be
most
the-
cunning.
That's
And
right.
what was the word?
This would be the mama bear
the-
situation. You need
Yeah.
Insidious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the rage.
all the
Yeah,
hate,
all the rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the ammunition.
all the eye gouging.
Exactly.
I saw a video the other day, just a quick reel on Instagram or something, where guys like, okay, I just bought 20 acres in West Texas. Anyone who wants to come and live off the land, come
Let's
on,
do
just
it.
bring your tent, your trailer, whatever you want. He's like, the world's going to crap, and you're going to want somewhere to be free. And so come on out. I'm going
That-
to buy more property.
That sounds like a molester right there.
Jim Jones.
He's in his windowless van.
I just bought some
Oh,
land, and any
gosh.
stranger that wants to come live on it, come on over.
Yeah, obviously that's like probably not well organized.
Yeah,
But
Well,
the
I mean,
concept of
if you're
just-
out in the middle of the desert,
yeah.
Is it
you know,
molestation at that
so
point?
it's going to be like no random. It's gonna, like a bum
Sorry.
isn't going to walk there.
someone who's
Yeah.
serious about
Yeah.
being independent.
And it's Texas. So
Yeah.
they don't mess around there.
Yeah, they've all got guns.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that everything is a conspiracy.
Yeah, it's all a conspiracy. I don't think there's any hope.
I heard purple.
You guys.
Went straight from
This is terrible.
our kids are gonna be all right to there's
Well,
There's no
our kids
hope.
are going to be all right, but
but we're not.
Well,
we're not.
but
You
for
guys,
us-
I think you guys are a little bit older than me. I'm 34.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we are.
We're way
Amber is.
older.
Yeah.
Amber is way over 40.
Amber's the most.
We can tell you that.
Yeah.
She's way over
It
34.
was a long time ago that she
I'm
turned
just a
40.
lot more wise than all of you. That's
Yeah.
really what it is.
And the rage too.
assholes. Yeah.
I feel like I was the last generation to grow up like normal.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I became an adult, like the world was just like turned to a fucking shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I feel like your awareness too, like you
Yeah.
kind of just, it just looks different when you're an adult.
Yeah.
But just like
But it is a
phones
shit show out
and
there for sure.
fucking This like I guess the social interaction has changed dramatically.
It's so
Yeah, it
weird.
really
It's
has.
so
since
weird.
2010, and that's when I became an adult, I guess, more
Yeah.
or less, jumped into the workforce. Since then, it's just all gone to shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be shitty like this for
It
another
is crazy.
decade
But
or
what a
two.
time to be alive. Like,
I
and
know it
witness
is.
it, really.
Yeah, we get to watch it go to
It's
shit.
pretty rapturous.
Yeah,
Rapture.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Funny.
Right, Jake?
Right. Right.
You better end
So
this
we-
off before I start talking about
Yeah.
what is it? MK
MK
Ultra.
Ultra.
Yeah, hurry.
Oh, I had a list of theories that I wanted to discuss, but this
Oh.
has been a great.
See,
This has been a great discussion.
I'm just
Um,
glad that you knew about the
maritime
newborn
law.
water birth
Maritime
theory,
law.
whatever.
It's
Yeah.
blown our minds since that guest was on. We're
Yeah.
like, what the heck?
I'd never
Yeah.
heard
We
such a
refer
thing.
back to it quite often.
Yeah, and I used to be like way into moon landing stuff, all that.
That's
But
a deep one. That's like,
Yeah.
my buddy Nate told me all about that
yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
Facts do go pretty deep, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Fuck are you
The
talking about?
truth-
He would like call the courts.
The
and
truth is
shit.
out there.
Call the courts.
Yeah, he would like call and talk to like clerks and stuff and like
Uh-huh.
quiz them on all this information.
Do you know what happened in 1969?
Well, yeah, he'd be like, so if you like, he'd like tailor questions to like get them to answer that. Yeah, he was basically like serving as an entity.
Oh yeah,
You know,
like
interesting.
yeah,
asking
he-
all
like,
this legal
legal
questions
questions
to
and
the
then like
clerks.
prove his point that like, that he was a free man or whatever. I don't even know how that shit works, but
Yeah,
I've definitely
yeah.
heard it. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, we just know that it's going to be great for our kids, but terrible for us.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be maybe not terrible.
So-
but,
I don't know what to believe.
Get solar panels? Is that where we're headed?
Yeah.
So
I
get
don't-
solar
I wouldn't
and
say get
generators.
solar panels or generators. There won't be gas. Solar panels will last you 20 years, and you're gonna have to figure something else out anyway.
You
I
got
don't
20
think,
years
and
to
I
figure it
don't
out.
think that like we're going into anything like that. I don't think we're going into it like, look, maybe we will have power go out for a while. Like that is a real worry. Like the power grid is weak, or and something could happen to it, like a solar flare.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, I
something
hope
like
so.
That could, and that would probably be more damaging than any war.
Yep.
Unless they specifically targeted our power grid system through a war. But like, the power going out would probably kill like half of Americans over a year's time.
Yep.
They people say it's like 90%. I think that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I think half would be a big number. And I say that because like most people that have a lot of, not most people, but a lot of people have conditions that are propped up by this society that you just can't survive through once that the power's gone.
Like laziness. I'm just kidding. But
Well, I mean, yeah,
oxygen
sure.
tanks and
Oxygen tanks,
Certain-
any sort of medication
Yeah.
for your blood
Exactly.
pressure,
Yeah, that would-
diabetes,
Like, think of all the people that are on medication. It would be like a zombie apocalypse, probably.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for some
well,
of the
and then that
people
would be like
withdrawals and stuff.
that would be a really serious issue.
Yeah,
Is the withdrawals.
I've thought about that before. I'm like,
If you
that
ever-
would be really
it's
terrible.
like hunker down for a few days. Give them 10 days to
No.
get
Oh,
If the
yeah.
power goes out on a wide scale, like get the fuck out of town. Like, hopefully you have a place
That's what I'm saying.
where you can be away from
Have
people.
have a
but-
property where you are independent.
Yes.
or a
Somewhere you
friend,
can go if
So
something
failure.
happens.
or have
Yeah.
a friend. that
I
has a
don't have
property.
anything. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You're not my
Well,
friend, Phil.
Or even like, I would
I would
say,
bring cilantro.
Yeah.
As a-
You're in, Amber.
Thanks.
and there is a problem where like fentanyl, heroin, all these drugs have infected like everywhere. It's not just the big cities, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's down in the small ones too. So yeah, you could definitely get some people doing some wild things once that shit happened and the drugs ran out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it would be much safer in a rural community for
Yeah.
sure.
You know
For
what's
sure.
crazy to think about? I was talking to I guess he's my great uncle. He's like my grandma's brother. We were talking about the inversion. This was maybe a couple winters ago because it happened to be bad that day. And he's like, you think inversion is bad now? You should have seen it in 1960 or whatever, when everyone here was
heard
burning
that.
wood and coal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And if you think about that, times the population by however much it's grown, like everyone's burning wood and coal, it's going to be like a black sky in Utah in the winter.
Well, and that's one thing that I think is so silly about the modern, like, green earth, you know, like
Electric vehicles.
carbon output. Like if I mean, maybe a lot of people just forgot what it was like here in the 70s. I wasn't alive,
Yeah.
but I've heard the stories. Like the entire United States was fucking trashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trashed.
Like the
Like oil in all the rivers and mercury in all the rivers
Yeah.
and like coal plants everywhere that were putting big giant fucking plumes and all that stuff moved to China.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now they're just doing it to China.
yeah.
But like, yeah, America was bad.
Yeah.
Bad. So like, yeah, we definitely cleaned up our act.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
since
so.
then.
We've done it good enough.
Yeah.
Right, Jake?
We've done it great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because of this podcast.
We've done,
Yep.
yeah.
Thank
It's because
God.
we're
We
fixing.
fixed
Yeah.
America.
Fixed
We
America
fixed
this time.
America today.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys don't have to do the podcast anymore.
Well
Yeah,
done.
this is it.
Yeah.
Episode
put it to bed.
131 is our final episode.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Treesus, for coming out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Visiting
No
with us.
problem. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you back and fix America again.
Yeah. When it's broken, call on me.
Yeah.
we need a Treesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saves
Thanks for
trees
listening,
and-
everybody. Give us money on Patreon.
Money.
And we
subscribe to the show.
I should tell you too. I've been what's that? What's happening? What is that?
No one can answer that, Phil.
Billboard. I've been updating our website.
Ooh.
So
Mm.
now we have let's see if it works. See if we can pull it up. Now we have a backpacking
I
page.
noticed that.
Oh, wow.
And
So
At least
You
I
can-
noticed the.
You can
green.
actually click on our backpacking trips, which you're going to have detailed photos, maps, GPS points.
Oh my God.
So if you
You're
want to
such a
go in and like,
Fun.
if you want to go in and follow our backpacking
See where
adventures,
we've been.
or go on the trips we've been on,
Yeah.
you now can do that on our website, AmericanFork.com.
Or if you have any suggested hikes that are awesome, you
Yeah.
can call us at 385-DAD-0-MUG and leave us a voicemail or email us.
At 123-456.
I can't wait to read through this. I'm already getting like bits and pieces that I can tell will be entertaining.
Yeah, you excited about
Is
it. Look,
there
I forgot to tell you guys this when we went, but I put a link of it. I saw Bigfoot tracks while we were in the Tetons.
You didn't.
Let's see if the
I
video
saw
You
some
didn't
here
tell anybody?
in Utah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah?
you did?
Yeah, for sure.
What part? Like, where were you?
What is that? Levin. There's a town. It's maybe 10 miles south of Nephi.
Okay.
Levan?
Yeah, Levan. Levin. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
I've had one. Yeah.
Anyways, there's like some canyons off the side of it, and I was up at one of the top of these like little mountain things, and there was just like this giant fucking footprint
Really?
of like this like toes and everything.
Damn.
Huh.
And I was
Did you
like,
take a
either
picture of
some fucking huge ass dude. I did, but
Yeah, I
shit.
wish this video would work because I saw some and I forgot. It was when I went off to do my business on my own, and I came back and I apparently forgot about it, so I didn't tell you guys.
Isn't that?
But then I remembered I took a video of it, and now the
Oh.
video's not working.
See, that's how it always is. This is how
Conspiracy.
Sasquatch wins.
Yeah, because we
Things don't work
Because
when
yes,
you take pictures
things
of them.
don't work.
Here, I'll show you on my phone. Anyway, you can end the podcast.
He's been trying.
Before I do, one thing that I want to tease, maybe talking about in the future with Treesus is I watched one of the videos where you were down in southern Utah somewhere, and you're like, how is that mesa not a huge tree stump? And it was like 300 feet long, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, that looks like a massive tree stump.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That's an interesting concept too, is how
For sure. I don't believe it, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting.
we know that the oxygen count back thousands of years ago was significantly higher than it is today.
For sure. Yeah.
And there are a lot of
And that means
places
that
in the world
big
that
feet-
look like tree stumps that have been petrified.
Well, yeah, there's this
Huge, hundreds of feet long.
a Venus or Mercury, one of them has a vapor canopy. And it's like the whole, like the atmosphere is vapor, filled with vapor. So at some point, there's scientists that think that there was a vapor canopy on Earth.
Hmm.
And then when that was, like when we had that vapor canopy, things would grow way fucking larger.
We get
Way.
it, Venus.
Here
You
it is.
vape.
Yeah.
Bigfoot,
Yeah.
Bigfoot tracks. See right there. See the toes?
Why did you poop
Oh.
inside?
Here's another
of a
track
Bigfoot?
right there.
Whoa!
Look at that. That's
That
Bigfoot.
is wild.
Now look, it's
Show
a
us how big
human
it is.
track here, obviously. And in the video, I'm like, the human track turned into Bigfoot somehow.
Hmm.
It's
That
a
is
change. It's a
interesting. 'Cause
It's
you
either
can
Skinwalker.
see
Bigfoot
the
or a
toes.
bear. I mean, there's definitely a track with big toes.
Yeah, that right there. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Bergfoot.
how long
Kind of
is
like
it?
what I saw.
Is long, like
Yeah.
14, 15
Yeah.
inches.
It's not long.
Like Mike's feet.
Like Mike was not there, but he might have been.
Yeah. If
There,
Mike
and
if
barefoot.
Mike stepped there, that's what it would have looked like.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Women aren't even real. Women aren't even real. Women aren't even real. The government owns you.